Hey guys, so this video I'm gonna be preaching about my dream I've had. I think it was probably a couple years ago. Um, it was it was a dream I don't think I quite understood in the moment. It was it was almost like I was two people. Okay, so the dream starts off like this. I was I was in this log cabin. Okay, I was in this like I feel like probably greenish like vegetative area. Two floors. There was one living room. It was just a beautiful cabin. It had like a upper like deck or whatever, and there was a back door and there was a front door. And the back door, so the layout. I gotta look. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna draw it. So sorry for the weird angle, but it doesn't matter. Here's what it kind of looked like. Every time I imagine this dream, which is like I always think about posting this, but every time I imagine the dream, this is the first location of the dream. Okay, so this dot right here, this was me. This is my consciousness, if you could say. And then that girl over there, sorry. Let me back up. So in the dream, I was essentially two different consciousnesses. And I was like two different people at the same time. Like I was a girl and I was a guy. But I was children. So I was a little girl and I was a little boy at the same time. I was one. The two were one. It's kind of like Adam and Eve, where Eve came out of Adam's side, right? They were the same person essentially, but like they could share each other's company. But in this dream, so there's a little circle right there representing the female, and she was looking out this window. This is kind of a 3D image. This is the upper room. This is the living room. This is like the kitchen or whatever it was. I didn't add so many details, but this is what it looked like. And so this was the back door. This is the living room, and then this is the front door over here, like out in the distance. You can kind of imagine another wall, like right here, and the front door is right here, and a giant window. It's like a cabin theme, okay? But anyways, me and this girl, which we are the same person, are looking out this window, and there's a guy, and I knew he was evil, and I didn't trust him. Like I felt like he was nice to me, but I didn't trust him. And there's another dream that it was the same way. I was like, I was in a bad situation and he knew I was, and it's like he wanted to harm me. I knew it, but I was like, I don't trust you. It's like kind of like an old guy like creeping up on a little boy, and that's what I was, And all these dreams, I'm young, but that's the back door. And so he's like looking in the window, he's peeking, like I could draw a little guy right here, He's peeking in the window. And he's like, hey guys, like let me in the house, like something. Not like he's in danger, but he like, let me in, let me come inside, And I was like, no, dude. And so, okay, let me get this right. So after, me and my twin, like opposite twin, because, male is opposite to female. It represents the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Jonathan Clegg explained that. You can just, look at his videos if you need explanation. The next part of the dream, after the devil asked to open, like, he's like, open a window, open a door, open something so I can come inside. I didn't. He takes me, like in a snap, he takes me to this city, okay? Here's the first clip I found online that might help tie in what I'm saying with other people's testimonies.
Being outside. This wasn't me. I could hear it speaking into me, and it was a masculine voice. And it said, you ignored the signs and you let me into your house. Your life is now mine. But you can have it back. And you can live a long life. But then when you do die, your soul is mine. And I instantly knew the signs were all those pictures of her with that one eye. And I ignored it. And I thought back. She's just standing right in front of me, blank stare, like this, as this voice is talking. I think back, I said, I need 5 minutes to decide. And I hear in my head, okay. And on cue, she turns around without saying anything, limps into the kitchen, turns the corner. I walk into my living room and I'm making a decision. Do I make a deal with the devil? You always hear about that in pop culture, right? But it's real. And I knew there were spiritual forces, and I knew there was wicked spiritual forces.
So basically this part was the one that kind of made me want to share this testimony, because it's always been in the back of my mind of sharing. It's a representation of how Satan can't just steal your soul. He has to get you to do something to steal your soul, because it's up to you. It's your house, you know? The only thing that you've ever owned is your own soul, your own house. Hopefully that's a good explanation. This right here is a representation of what was happening spiritually and what is happening spiritually to many people. He brought the girl into his house, and Satan made him feel like there was no going back. And that's a lie. The thing that this guy was afraid of was death, and Satan took advantage of that. The next part of the dream, after the devil asked to open, he's like, open a window, open a door, open something so I can come inside. I didn't. He takes me, like in a snap, he takes me to this city, okay? And that's kind of what happened to Jesus, you know? He was tempted on the mountain, and then he was taken to this place to see all the cities. But yeah, I was in the city, okay? It was kind of, I can draw this real quick, hold on. All right, so here's the next part of the dream. Right here, this where my finger is at, right here, is it's like a city theme, okay? And this is the background, you know, just trying to establish a setting. But I was under this little segue from, I think, one building to another building, and it was like between two staircases, and it had these little arches, and it was like a pathway around the whole bottom part of this skyscraper. And this building was massive. Just all these buildings around it were massive. But that little goat man I drew, that's the guy that I didn't know, but he was trying to tempt me. And he was like, shake my hand, you know, shake my hand, you can get this. Or not get this, but in the dream I didn't know, you know, a lot was going on, but he's like, shake my hand. Here, do it here. And me and this girl, I was just like, no, bro. This girl was next to me, I was like, we're not doing it. You know, I speak for both of us, you know, we're not doing it. And then we established the next part of the dream. The third, which, you know, in the Bible, you see a lot of threes. You see 3 days, Jesus was in the tomb. The third day, he has arisen. Jesus said he would rebuild the temple in 3 days. Rebuilding the spiritual temple in 3 days. There's just countless, or Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Or, yeah, the rooster crowed 3 times. Three times, 3 consecutive times I was tempted. The third time, you'll see. On to the next part of the temptation. I want to say that last one was probably a representation of, you know, like when Jesus was tempted with giving authority to all these cities, you know. We're all tempted in a way, but the weird thing is that he took me to somewhere like greater than before, and it was like the way Jesus was tempted, you know, the cities and the temptation in the Bible. And then in my dream it was the cities, you know. He took me to the cities. He showed me, you know, and he's like, you want to shake my hand now? I was like, no. So the next part of the dream was I was in hell. I was in this really deep place, and it was just so cramped. It was just like I didn't want to be there, and I can just tell you that I can tell you what it felt like, because you won't remember descriptions, but you'll remember what it felt like. You know, I can tell you that it's bad. It's not where you want to be. But me and my other consciousness of a female, because the two male and female, we were in hell, and Satan was like, shake my hand now. Shake my hand. He was getting mad. He was like, shake my hand. He was yelling, shake my hand. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. No. I was like, hell no. Look at, you know, but each time it was so quick. He was like, not gonna do it here? Boom, take it here then. Shake my hand. And he got madder and madder. He's like, but originally he was like, hi, how you want to let me in? And here he was like, okay, you're making me impatient. Come on, shake my hand. And then hell, he's like, shake my hand right now. Like, he's not like that. Worse.
And I think it's interesting that in these depictions, they depict him with a suit and tie and like a mafia boss looking kind of guy. You know, nice on the outside, but you know, he's a evil ruler on the inside.
But a description of the scene would be, I mean, Satan's right here, you know, and me and this girl are right next to each other. It's fiery, it's red, it's hot, all the bad things, you know. But at the end, I said, no, I won't do it. And then my dream ended with Satan being so mad. He was like, you didn't need to verbally hear anything. It was just like a scream, you know. It was like his energy was screaming in anger and hatred and malice, you know. But that's my dream, and I'm gonna include some clips. If I didn't already include clips earlier, God has been like, this is important. Hey, post shower Aiden here. I had some stuff underneath the testimony I just wrote, and I just want to get it out of the way just to make sure, you know, I'm saying everything that the Spirit might be leading me to say. The first one was, it's a series of yeses and nos until you fully become, and that's from Nefarious, the movie Nefarious, where the demon-possessed man talks about how the guy got demon-possessed. And it's like, it really is a representation of, oh, you let this into your life? Oh, you're going to become this. You're going to let this into your life, and you're going to slowly become this thing, the demon-possessed thing, you know? And it's a series of yeses and nos until your consciousness is just so low and your conscious is so weak. And another thing I wrote was, if you start gossiping and hating, you know, yeah, so like guards, they would say, they always ask. I mean, it's just like a thing. Like back in the 1700s, they used to like just walk right in. But now that there's established laws, you can't just walk in. You know, you have to say, "Can I come in?" Or, you know, you see police officers. As soon as you open the door, then they can come in. They can do anything they need. But if you just never open the door, then they can't do anything. It's really how you respond, you know? And that's where my next one is. Satan can't break the rules. So he can't break the rules of just taking someone's soul. He has to like, he wants to, but he has to follow the rules and make you say yes. He has to make you make the decision. He's like, well, God, look, he did it to himself. You know, it's his fault. But that's just the logic of it. And then the next thing I wrote, I was trying to say earlier, the Sinners movie. When I was watching the Sinners movie, it was like God was just on one-on-one, just saying like, you better tell them, bro. Like, you better tell them what's going on, because the Sinners movie was just crazy. I mean, so the male and female in my dream represented good and evil. And that was my consciousness. I was good and evil in one. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's so profound. That's not as like this. The way I'm talking right now is not as profound as what it really is. Like it's crazy. Jonathan Kleck on YouTube explains everything to every little detail, and it's life changing, literally. But the Sinners movie poster. The first time I ever saw the movie Sinners was, I didn't see it, but I saw the poster, and it was way before it was on TikTok, I'm pretty sure. And it was, on one side there was the guy with blue, on the left side was the guy with red, and he was like all evil, and like his face was dark and you couldn't see his eyes. That's a very popular occult symbol in like Freemasonry and stuff.
Bangs are covering her one eye, and it was a masculine voice. And it said, you ignored the signs and you let me into your house. Your life is now mine. She's loopy.
And I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's the movie Sinners. What is this? What's this movie Sinners? And so I watched it later on, and it was just to the T, just like exactly what is happening. So vampiric evil energy wants to come inside the house, but they have to have permission. You have to have permission. You have to say yes. It's a series of yeses and nos until you fully become. You have to say yes. You have to say no. And the only way they could have killed him was if they got him out of the house, or if they said, "Come on in!"
you motherfucker!
And my last one I got here is, behold, I stand at the door and knock. Jesus is saying he stands at the doors and he knocks for you to answer. And I was like, that's a good, opposite paradigm to this. Jesus stands at the door. Stands, by the way, Jesus is up. So that stand part just kind of, I was like, whoa, the Holy Spirit must have led me to focus in on that word and stand. Oh, wow, stand. You stood up spiritually, or there's other representations in the Bible. You sat up, you lifted your eyes. Get it? You lift, you look up. Jesus is standing at the door. You have to say, yes, I want you to come into my heart, Jesus. Or you have to say, whatever you want for your house, because it's your house overall. This house is representation of your soul, of your body.